This is the brief on the uncertain future of the Real Housewives of New Jersey. The first update we have today is that a major star from a hit Bravo show is reportedly devastated after her series was placed on an indefinite pause. And this is even after a huge family reconciliation that fans have waited years for. So it really makes you wonder if the network is just completely finished with the whole franchise. So Teresa Giudice is reportedly devastated that RHONJ is in limbo, as sources suggest Bravo seems to be over it. She and her husband, Luis Rellas, definitely want the show to return, and a big part of that is likely financial. They're reportedly dealing with a $3 million tax debt. And, executive producer Andy Cohen has only fueled the uncertainty. He's hinted that cameras won't return until they know the show is great, and that they won't rush into anything. But the biggest sign that Bravo might not be interested? They didn't even film the recent reconciliation between Teresa and her brother Joe Gorga and sister-in-law Melissa. I mean, come on. This family drama has been the central storyline for the show since season 3. Sources argue that not filming this massive breakthrough strongly suggests Bravo is genuinely finished. It leaves Teresa, despite her optimism, in a really tense position. The network's decision not to film the family's biggest moment might be the clearest sign yet that the sun is setting on New Jersey. Before we get into the next update, please make sure you've liked this video and subscribe to this channel. Okay, then let's move on to next update now.
Next, we are going to talk about what happens when a party meant to bring friends back together ends with one person pulling out a surprise gift of drug tests for the entire table. So the whole thing goes down at Bronwyn Newport's Spill the Boston Tea Party. She was trying to get everyone to sign a new constitution to, resolve all the group's drama. But that peace treaty idea just went right out the window. The focus immediately shifted to this huge feud between Whitney Rose and Meredith Marks. And Whitney, she crossed a major line. She publicly calls Meredith an alcoholic and a pill popper. Now, she tried to justify it by talking about her own trauma with her father's substance abuse, saying she was just concerned after seeing Meredith on a recent plane ride. But Meredith's reaction? Wow. Instead of just denying it, she pulls out these prepackaged drug test kits right there at the table. She starts handing them out, basically challenging anyone who accused her to prove they were clean themselves. She literally called the move diabolical. So yeah, the reconciliation completely failed. Instead of signing anything, the night ended with Meredith declaring her own amendment. Hear ye, stop the reactive abuse. She's pretty much saying Whitney's accusations were just an abusive response to her own bad behavior. So this feud is definitely not over. So this was today's update about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City drama. Let's now move on to next update. Next, we are going to talk about the latest drama surrounding the Real Housewives of Orange County. So, a former cast member is reportedly devastated after temporarily losing custody of her 3 young children. And her co-star is sharing some intense details from their text messages. And this is all happening while major casting speculation is fueling a feud where one housewife is being called a grudge holder. Okay. So Tamra Judge confirmed she reached out to Meghan King right after reports came out that Meghan temporarily lost custody of the 3 kids she has with her ex-husband, Jim Edmonds. This was apparently after a CPS investigation. Tamra said that Meghan is just so devastated she couldn't even talk, and that her whole family is heartbroken. She also pointed out how confusing it must be for the kids. They're young, and their dad is reportedly living in Nashville while Meghan is in Missouri, so they're really far apart. Tamra did say she's always known Meghan to be a good mom. Now, switching gears to all the RHOC's drama, Tamra is going at it with her co-star Shannon Beador. She slammed Shannon for holding grudges and not being able to move forward, even though Shannon is the one who's calling her Tamra Grudge. Tamra's take is that to be a good housewife, you need to have conflict but also resolve it, which she says Shannon never does. As for casting rumors, Tamra made it super clear she shot down any talk of wanting Kelly Dodd back. She said Kelly crossed a line of no return by going after families, kids, and husbands, and basically told Kelly to just leave Heather Dubrow alone. But she did say she'd love to see some familiar faces, like Jonna Q and Tammy Knickerbocker, to get back to the olden times. Oh, and Alexis Bellino also chimed in, telling an outlet she'd never say never to a return. So this was today's update about Tamra Judge's comments on casting rumors and the Meghan King situation. Let's now move on to next update.
Okay, next, we are going to talk about the absolute chaos from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills premiere. We've got 2 former stars claiming Garcelle completely blindsided her best friend, And another star is accused of throwing her own husband under the bus and using a $2,000 blanket as a bribe. It's a lot. So this all comes straight from Teddi Mellencamp and Tamra Judge, who broke it all down on their podcast Two Teas in a Pot, and they did not hold back. Teddi came right out and put the blame on Garcelle Bouvet for her friendship with Sutton Stracke ending. She said Garcelle basically just stopped talking to her, which left Sutton feeling completely blindsided. Tamra agreed, calling the whole situation shady, especially since Garcelle was recently spotted out with Sutton's former assistant, Avi Gabay. Then the conversation turned to Dorit Kemsley and her custody situation with PK. Teddi accused Dorit of using the show to throw him under the bus, especially after she talked about how PK asked for joint custody but then supposedly couldn't handle it. And speaking of Dorit's moves, Tamra pointed out that $2,000 Hermes blanket she gave to the new cast member, Bozoma St. John. I mean, Tamra thinks that pricey gift was just to keep her as an ally. And finally, they had to talk about Erica describing Sutton as a box. Both of them agreed the comment was just messy, and Teddi actually predicted it's going to bite her in the ass later on this season. So this was today's update about the explosive accusations from the RHOBH premiere. Let's now move on to the next update. Next, we are going to talk about some major updates from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Kathy Hilton is finally giving fans a definitive answer on whether her sister Kim Richards will ever return. Plus, she's revealing a surprising initial conflict she had with a brand new cast member. So, for anyone holding out hope for Kim Richards to come back, well, Kathy has put those rumors to rest. She said Kim is doing really, really well, which is great. But a return to the show? Yeah, it's just not going to happen. According to Kathy, the cameras are just too invasive, and Kim, being a talented actress, just isn't interested in stepping back into that world. Now, speaking of the cast for season 15, Kathy seems pretty happy with the new lineup. Of course, her sister Kyle is there, and they're bringing in 3 new women: Rachel Zoe, Natalie Swanston-Fuller, and Amanda Francis. Kathy actually called Rachel Zoe like family. But here's the little bit of tea. Kathy admitted her start with the newbie Amanda Francis was, rocky. She said she was a little like, about her at first, but it seems they've worked it all out. Kathy made it very clear that she now really, really likes Amanda. So this was today's update about Kathy Hilton and the latest Beverly Hills cast developments. Let's now move on to next update.
Next, we are going to talk about a collaboration you absolutely didn't see coming. Seriously, we're talking about 2 former rivals, the ex-wife and the alleged mistress, who not only buried the hatchet, but are now officially teaming up. The people in question are Lala Kent and actress Ambyr Childers. For years, these two were, let's just say, not friends. It was all centered on Randall Emmett. So, Ambyr was his wife, and Lala was the mistress who later became his fiancé. Wild, right? But that whole dark past seems to be over. They're actually friends now, and they've just launched a new iHeart podcast together. It's called An Unlikely Affair, and it premieres on January 8th. They say the goal is to be brutally honest and empower women and moms to feel, quote, okay to be messy, which, they probably know a lot about. And this podcast isn't the only big career move for Lala. She also just confirmed she's joining the reality show The Valley full-time. She admitted she was pretty concerned about going back to reality TV, especially after needing so much time for healing and taking accountability after her last show. But ultimately, she said yes because she realized she still loves it and the new cast members are genuinely her friends. So this was today's update about Lala Kent's unlikely new podcast and her return to reality TV. Let's now move on to next update. Next, we are going to talk about the recent Real Housewives of Salt Lake City reunion, where one housewife called for a cast member to be cut following an intense 15-hour filming session that even included a teased walk-off. So the drama really starts with Bronwyn Newport, who went on Reality Hot Seat and named Meredith Marks as the co-star she would bench for the next season. Bronwyn, who's 40, just felt that Meredith, 53, didn't show enough of her personal home life this season. And, fellow cast member Heather Gay, who's 51, she actually agreed with that take. This is all coming right after their season 6 reunion, where sources already confirmed Meredith was kind of in the hot seat. And that reunion sounds like it was grueling. Heather joked that the taping was like 15 hours long. She even compared the intensity to a football game, saying she took a few sacks. The cast definitely felt the heat, with Heather teasing that someone may or may not have walked off. Even the host, Andy Cohen, admitted the filming went way late, wrapping up at 10 p.m. instead of the expected 7. But he did praise the women for not doing anything half-assed. Despite the long day, Bronwyn confirmed she and Heather are in a great place. The entire cast, which includes Angie Katzenavas, Lisa Barlow, Mary Cosby, and Whitney Rose, filmed on this whole Grease-inspired set while wearing jeweled and pastel gowns. So this was today's update about the explosive RHOSLC reunion details. Let's now move on to next update. Next, we are going to talk about Monique Samuels, who just revealed surprising details about her marriage, a jaw-dropping reconciliation with Gizelle Bryant, and confirming rumors about her ex-husband, Chris Samuels, that listeners won't want to miss. So, Monique just appeared on Watch What Happens Live, and let me tell you, she did not hold back. First off, that sit-down with Gizelle Bryant, apparently it went way deeper than what we saw on screen. Monique said Gizelle was actually accountable. They both apologized, and they even laughed about everything. Yeah, even the binder. They pretty much agreed to only throw shade to each other's faces from now on. And, Monique admitted she can now kind of see why Gizelle was questioning her marriage all those years ago. It's tough keeping things private on TV. Speaking of her marriage, she opened up about the divorce from Chris Samuels. She said she's not dating yet and that the breaking point was realizing he was, in her words, not the person who I thought he was. But the biggest bombshell? When she was asked about those rumors about Chris getting close with Stacey Rush, she just replied, "Oh yeah. Yep, she confirmed it, just like that." She also made it super clear that a reconciliation with Candiace Dillard Bassett is just not going to happen. She says moving on sometimes just means setting boundaries.